Huh? What do you mean? I told you that I was gonna trim the trees today. It's just a tree. Whatever. Trees have feelings. What a stupid thing to say. It's a tree. I better throw these on the brush pile. Babe, can you bring me a towel? I forgot one. Thank you.
That was amazing. I really rocked your world, didn't I? Well, good night. Babe, I say good night. Babe?
What's going on, Canes fans? You know what? Let's not talk about the intro. Let's talk about this football game. But before we do, double check and make sure that you are subscribed to this channel, but only if you love college football. I guess if you don't, then don't subscribe because we talk about college football here. But don't press it if you already are subscribed because that would unsubscribe you.
Please, do not push the button.
And that's bad. Definitely don't do that. Anyways, so much about Stanford is just very odd. They have a former NFL head coach as their interim head coach currently because Troy Taylor, well, he was fired in March. So due to the timing, they couldn't really bring in the guy that they wanted. So this is a temporary situation just for the 2025 season. And at the time of filming this video, I'm also not sure who their starting QB will be for this Miami game because Ben Gulbranson got injured against FSU. Now, maybe by the time you watch this video, we might have an idea of who the starter is going to be, but it could very well be the redshirt freshman Elijah Brown, who played in the second half against the Noles. And guess what? The Cardinal won. And speaking of the Cardinal, just a little brief side note here. I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit this, but I always thought their name stood for one singular bird, a cardinal, because you have the Louisville Cardinals, which is the bird. This is the Stanford Cardinal, so I thought it was for one bird, and I knew that I had never seen any bird stuff when it came to Stanford, but since Miami doesn't play them, I never really thought anything of it, but I did think that it was a little bit confusing.
You are made of stupid.
Well, it turns out that it stands for the school's official color, cardinal red. And all those crazy looking trees that you see everywhere, yeah, that's not even an official mascot. It's just very popular. And continuing this odd trend, Stanford is coming off of a win against Florida State, 20-13. And the Cardinal were projected to only win 3 or 4 games this season. And even though they're only at 3 currently, which isn't great, I doubt that they thought that one of those W's was going to be over FSU. And heck, they still have 5 more games to go. But they are dealing with a lot of injuries right now. And that offensive line has given up 22 sacks this season. And I know we stress how penalized Miami is because, well, they are. But Stanford is sitting at the same amount. Both of these teams at 47 total penalties on the season. Now, speaking on Miami here for just a moment, they need a big bounce back performance in this one because the ACC loss that we're always talking about, the one that we expect every single season, it happened a bit early this year for the Canes. Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions and Jeff Brom schemed up the perfect counter to Miami. Many believe now he has laid out the blueprint for beating the Canes. Luckily for Miami, however, Stanford doesn't have Jeff Brom and their talent level is much lower. But of course, you want to see Miami go in and dominate in the way that they should, and it's always one game at a time. Never underestimate any opponent. But I do think that you're going to be a bit shocked when I tell you how much Miami is favored by in this game here in a bit. So let's take a quick look at the history between these two teams. That's right. They've literally never played each other. This will be the first meeting between the Cardinal and the Canes. How about instead show you some average stats so far this season for both squads? And coming into this matchup, Stanford is averaging 19 points per game, Miami 33. Points allowed against them, Stanford 28, Miami 15. Yards gained average 328 for Stanford, 412 for Miami. Yards allowed against them, Stanford 422, Miami a very respectable 292. And third down conversion percentage 34% for Stanford, 46% for Miami. I will also give you 3 keys to a victory for the Miami Hurricanes powered by the Sleeper app. I've got a question for you. It's going to be football fans, of course, that are watching this video. Do you think that you know football? If you answered yes, then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app. Just pick more or less on players' predicted stats, and you could win up to 100 times your money if your picks win. We've won multiple times here on this channel in the picks contest, and all you got to do is click the link down in the description to create an account and download the app. Just don't forget to use code word COOP and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, and Sleeper is currently operational in over 25 states. So check out the Sleeper app today, and don't forget that if you do it right now, pause this video and download it right now, you get a free $20 to try out the picks contest for yourself. No deposit needed. So shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. Let's get over to the keys to a victory. So coming in at number 1, Miami's run game must be a factor again. Fletcher was held to a season low 18 yards last week. Whatever it takes to make that happen, not the 18 yards, but the run game being a factor again. Maybe we could finally see some outside runs. That would be pretty cool. Dawson, I'm begging you. But it's obvious that Miami is playing their best when they control the ground game and can own the time of possession. Got to get back to it this week. Number 2, when Miami does decide to throw the ball, attack the middle of the field. They have a middle linebacker that has missed quite a few tackles this season, and they seem to be a bit vulnerable there just in general. And you also need to see Beck making smarter decisions, but also just not second guessing himself. I mean, just take the check down sometimes, Carson. And Malachi Toney is a huge playmaker. Please continue to get him involved, but sometimes Beck is locking on to him a little bit too much. But with all that being said, this should be a bounce back game for Beck. It's a great opportunity for it to be, as Stanford only has 1 interception so far this season. And lastly, I don't care. I do not care. I'm putting it again. Keep the gosh darn penalties to a minimum. That has also really impacted the run game in a negative way and made things tough. The Canes continue to find themselves in a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 3. Next thing you know, you get a pre-snap penalty. And what do you know? It's pretty easy to tell what comes next. So just do something about the penalties. Now, before we get to my official pick and score prediction this week for the game coming up, I would like to remind everyone that the CPU versus CPU final score from the virtual season was Miami 51, Stanford 10. And if you'll take kind of a look here at this screenshot, the Canes offense actually aired it out in that one. As for the Coach Coop plays version, it was much closer with the final score of Miami 35, Stanford 24. So let's just hope that it's closer to the CPU version in real life. Let's also check in with the all-knowing Pickle right quick. Well, at least he thinks he is. He's pretty cocky, but I say that. He actually picked Louisville to beat Miami last week.
Pickle predicts.
Will the Miami Hurricanes bounce back and beat Stanford this week?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What was the question?
Will the Miami Hurricanes bounce back and beat Stanford this week?
Do you really need to know that?
Yes, I do.
You already know the answer to that.
Will the Miami Hurricanes beat Stanford on Saturday night?
Yes!
Now, was that so hard? And of course, let's check in with my boy Max. Since it's such a gorgeous day out here, we're doing the Max Picks segment outside. So I've got his two bowls lined up here. The Miami one is the one on the right. Stanford on the left. I'm going to call for him and let's see what happens. Maxwell! Maxwell! Hopefully he hears me. There he is! Oh! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No! He picked Stanford! You know what? I don't blame him after he picked Miami last week. And you know what? I get it, my boy. I get it. Now you can also see here that we are tracking everyone's picks. And, well, unfortunately for Max and I, the Pickle, again, did get it correct last week. I took my first L as the Canes took their first L. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing finishes out. All right, so here we go. The ESPN matchup predictor gives Miami a whopping 96.3% chance of winning, with Stanford coming in at 3.7. And when I told you that Miami is favored big, boy, did I mean it. 30.5 points with the over-under set at 45.5. Last week was not a very good look for the channel when it comes to predictions, but as I'm hoping that the Canes bounce back this Saturday, I'm trying to do the same, and I'm feeling pretty confident. I've got the Miami Hurricanes putting up 31. And Stanford, wow, could I have made these any more lopsided here? Scoring 13. Look, here's what I'm going to say. I was just a week early when I said that the Canes would finally score 30 plus again. I believe more than ever before that they will do it this week. Just barely, but they will. And no, I'll be real. I don't really care about what the Stanford, Florida State score ended up being. Those boys have nothing to play for in Tallahassee. They know that Mike Norvell is done for, and that definitely impacts the way that they play. Same as every week, Miami can't play down to the opponent. They must respond in this one, but I will say that they are fully capable of doing so. I'm personally not in panic mode right now, and if you truly believe that Stanford does beat Miami, which seems to be a very popular take. I've been talking about this game all week on Twitter, And a ton of Canes fans are saying, you know what? It's game over. It's not going to happen. The Canes are losing the rest of their games. I'm literally quoting some people. Go drop a Benjamin Franklin on Stanford money line and turn that bad boy into 4K if you're that confident. There's just no way. I mean, nothing's impossible, right? We saw that last week. But even though we say that Louisville provided the blueprint, get the ball out quickly. That's all you have to do. It makes Bain and Mesidor a non-factor. It's really not as simple as that. It is, but it isn't. You have to have the right playmakers to be able to do that, right? Louisville was able to get the ball out quickly to guys like Lacey and Bell. Isaac Brown was running the ball really well, so you still had to respect the run game. Stanford could be coming in here maybe with a freshman quarterback. Maybe not. They might have their other guy. He might be healthy. But even if they do, they got to have some wide receivers that can match that can make guys miss, can pick up the yak. And if you don't have that, getting the ball out quickly, if you're going to try to dink and dunk, man, you got to be able still to put points on the board. Because at the end of the day, as frustrating as it is to watch this Miami run game, Miami is going to score points. It's not going to be 40 plus, but they're going to get into the upper 20s, maybe low 30s. So you have to find the end zone is what I'm getting at. So it's not quite that simple. You have to have the right set of players that can make this happen and it be successful. And that worked out for Louisville. Do I think Stanford maybe tries to come in with that same game plan? I mean, maybe. But can they execute it as well as Louisville did? Personally, I don't think so if they try to do that. They're maybe even banged up and dealing with injuries in that running back room as well. So, I got the Canes on top. It's not going to be a cakewalk, but I do think that Miami bounces back and they do get a win in this one. Now, it is the military appreciation game. That is why I was rocking the new polo, courtesy of Hoodie Girl. So thank you, Melissa, for the very kind and generous gift that you sent to my P.O. box. I absolutely love this polo. But you guys know what to do. Sound off down in the comment section below. Don't be shy. If you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know. Am I crazy for thinking that the Canes bounce back? And I don't have them covering the spread. This is, an 18-point win. They got Miami favored by 30. I think that they don't get away from the ground game. They're not going to go in there and play scared when it comes to Carson Beck throwing the football. But I think you want to get back to that Miami identity, which is pounding the rock and doing it successfully. We need to see 120, 150 plus rushing yards possibly in this one. So maybe still kind of a little bit lower scoring. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one. Oh, shit. Not that much. All right, Mr. Tree.